as you really settle him into place, you're now able to take pretty much unhindered action relatively with one arm, as one arm is all you need to just brace his form, and still have enough control to kind of do whatever you need to. Um, Now that you are powered up thusly, what would you like to start doing?
I'm gonna try to use as much movement as I have to get him as close to the gate and away from any future harm that could come to him, and away from this whole ritual circle and everything that's been happening. To see if that just will keep him in a better state, or at least keep him out of harm's way in case something else happens.
Sounds good. Let's take a quick look at speed and
Does he have, like,
movement.
half movement? Yeah.
Run, feet per melee, so that's the full feet per attack. So 84. And that's if you use a full attack. Using a bonus is going to be a quarter of that. So we're going to say roughly 20 feet. And we're going to say right about here. And he is now with you. In fact, we're going to go like this. There. Okay. You are set. Round 3. All right. From the darkness in the mist before you guys, you hear more cracking. Actually, before we move on to him, I want to... Give me 1 second. All right, I'm going to need to set those up. All right, so we're just going to go like this. Let's say... I don't think they have inherent bonuses like that. So let's just say a straight roll. Okay, and we're going to position that unit behind Ren without a roll off because it's coming in after initiative was established. And I'd prefer to let whoever's already in the melee win out over somebody just leaping in. Okay, so now we've got that unit accounted for.
I definitely
And
was gonna ask you about that, but I got a question though.
yes,
Wouldn't
indeed.
it go before me as if it was the end after Ren? So it would be the monster, then the summon, then me.
Oh, I prefer to have things roll, and I'll be doing that depending how things go with like drones and kind of any kind of summons and stuff like that. I like everything that's going to be in the tracker to kind of have rolled rather than just place something in a turn order. Because I think it kind of keeps. I think if everything has to go through initiative, it kind of keeps things a little
Yeah,
more
I understand that.
unpredictable.
I
So
was just saying. No, that's fine. Never mind. Just let's let's continue.
Okay. Um, all right. So you guys hear more kind of cracking and snapping and stone getting ground down. You also are hearing what sounds like dirt, huge volumes of dirt being moved. Um, and the sounds of the stone splintering and cracking like gunshots starts kind of expanding outwards to a larger area very quickly. Um, the cistern has completely disappeared into the darkness, and the smoke now and mist is kind of out to this kind of line here. Now it's just about to where the gems and ingots have spilled all over the floor. So it's obscuring quite a bit more of the room. Um, the final thing you hear as this kind of cacophony continues is a roar that immediately follows what sounded like some kind of wet crunching noise. Okay? You hear almost like a familiar sound from like a butcher's shop, and then there's just this lion like, extremely rage and wrath filled roar that emanates. It almost sounds like it's coming up from some kind of like underground source, like coming up from perhaps a tunnel. Um, from the way that it kind of reverberates and is distorted. Um, as you hear uh, that noise, immediately the sound of the grinding and snapping and the cistern being dragged and the stones cracking, immediately further sounds of all of that stop. There does sound like there's some rubble kind of moving around and things like that, and there is some kind of further like heavy breathing and kind of like growling going on, but all of the noises of like destruction and stress pretty much dissipate immediately after that point. Um, and that takes us to the current second, in which Akama is ready to go. We are now in We are now in 3, I believe. Yeah.
All right. What I'm gonna do is grab Lars and run for the Forge Master, and then try to pick him up and make way to the exit as well.
Okay, you've got Lars hoisted. You very quickly hightail it over to the Forge Master. And within just a second, you have him secured. I don't know if I should do it like this, but whatever. And you actually I wouldn't even count that really as an attack. Maybe an attack for both. It's like picking up sacks of potatoes. So now Drago was bigger, so maybe a few extra seconds to kind of get him in position, or be maybe dragging him by the collar would probably be the quickest way. The back of the apron or something maybe. Rather than trying to like he's just got so much bulk, holding him with one arm doesn't really make sense because it'd probably hurt him in some way. So yeah, I would assume you're probably kind of dragging him. So we'll kind of rotate it like this. And with your speed, we're going to say that you easily get out. Okay? And so you have just taken a few steps up the stairs and are dragging, well, you've got Lars over your shoulder and you're kind of dragging Drago behind you. Gently, not to, fucking cause severe CTE kind of thing. So, all right. With that, we're going to switch over to Ren. What would you like to be doing?
Was it me or Ymir?
Ymir.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't
Yeah.
scroll all the way up. Ymir, what do you got?
So after that sound happened, can we tell what direction that came from, or is that sort of an all-encompassing? Where would you say that digging sound or the tunneling sound was most pronounced?
Back here.
Over there.
Yeah.
Back here.
Were you able to see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you make it ping again? What's the? Yeah, right there. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, with his advanced hearing, with his hearing, finely attuned hearing from his senses of the wild, Ymir hears where the sound is coming from, instantly turns around, looks over his shoulder, sees now the anvil, this right here on the map, that's not there anymore, correct? If I remember that
I'm sorry.
properly,
You're talking about the anvil?
Yes.
Here.
Yes, the anvil.
No, it's there. It's there.
Oh, it is.
Yep.
It's there. Okay, it didn't. Okay. All right.
No, it had those red kind of fault lines forming in it. And as soon as whatever that energy was shut down, you see now that it's got these kind of blackened, kind of carbonized scars replacing where those kind of red veins were.
Okay.
So the surface of the silver anvil itself is deeply marred and imperfect now. And you're really not sure how much of the enchantment is left or what the status of it is. So.
Okay. So Ymir, after hearing that sound and the direction it's coming from, he looks over his shoulder and he sees that Drago and the rest of the crew are starting to make their exit, or head towards the exit. So he steps back from his position and sort of like reinforces their retreat. So he moves to about right there and just holds position there, basically covering their retreat, kind of like the rear guard, the rear guard covering their exit.
Anchor.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Ren calls out, grab me that croissant. No, I'm joking.
I'm gonna do that like this then, because it doesn't really make sense that you'd be staying stationary as he starts moving. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set you over here.
Go ahead. Yep.
I'm gonna set you, let's see, right here, and then I'm gonna group this whole group, and we're gonna see what the fuck that does. Okay, so now that I'm sorry, I should have put you. Let's go like this. Let's go like this. And there we go. Okay, so Ren, as we switch over to you, essentially Ymir obviously comes up from behind and is kind of like, covering. And he's going to be moving with you. So what would you like to do?
Yep.
I'll just jump up into his arms. No, I mean,
Take me with you, Edwin.
I mean, it'd probably be faster considering I cast superhuman strength and made it half the distance that Dex made without casting anything with two fuckers.
Atlanteans,
Yeah,
baby.
I'm just gonna keep book. I'm just gonna keep. I probably don't even notice him because I got a guy over my shoulder. I mean, I probably
Yeah.
hear him though. He's probably
Yeah, you.
you're able to. You can. You always
Okay,
kind
well,
of
yeah,
know where
yeah,
he is.
I mean, my focus was to get this guy's out of harm's way, so I'm just gonna be single focused on that.
Okay,
So just
you can go as
still-
far up the staircase as you'd pretty much like. Now that you're loaded up, you're gonna be just fine, kind of really moving.
Yeah, I'm
so
just gonna book it. Yeah, I'm just booking it.
okay,
'Cause, I mean, from what I got from me casting the net, basically, it didn't seem to stop it. So it's just like I'm not catching it, so I'm gonna get people safe. So that's
Okay.
what I'm doing.
okay, you start just fucking hauling ass, and there's a little bit of congestion once you guys reach the stairwell, but you kind of weave through, and everybody starts hauling up the staircase together very, very quickly. You get your group actually gets to. Does Ymir want to stay behind?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Mirrors covering the rear, kind of in the entranceway as they make their way up the steps with the,
These.
civvies. I'll say civvies just for. Yep, perfect.
Okay. All right, good. We're gonna say that Ren, you and Ahab get all the way up to the top of the stairs to the doors. Yeah, you
run
guys
down on the top of the stairs and I run back down for that croissant. No.
So you get all the
Oh,
way up to the top of the
I'm
stairs.
already there. Like my mind sits on that croissant.
Um,
Croissant.
as you reach the top and hit the doors, Akama and Ymir, you both hear stone snap and shred as the claws anchor this mighty beast to the floor and serve as a pivot for its massive muscles to lunge itself forward. As it flies through the air, everybody able to witnesses it literally bound all the way into the smoke and disappear from sight in one massive lunge. Now, as it sounds like it lands, you guys hear, some banging and crashing. It sounds almost like maybe it hit something wooden. Something sounds like it splinters and just kind of, there's just some general sounds of destruction. And then right away you hear some stone kind of shifting and moving. And then you hear the sound of kind of like almost like growling, like maybe the wolf is like struggling somehow, but you're not sure exactly how. Okay. Next up, okay, we got 4. Nothing further is heard from the smoke from the individual and the demonic creature. Okay. Akama, you are up again.
I'll have the summon come back to me.
Okay, you call out to it. What would you like to say? Just like return or
Heal.
to my side or fucking by the power of Grayskull, something.
Come at me, bro. Baby,
Uh,
come back.
I'll say, yeah, I'll just say return.
Okay, as you say this, you hear kind of a growl come back, almost like a frustrated kind of growl. And you just hear further sounds of almost like a struggle.
I mean, shit, if we're dipping, uh, I'm gonna, for a quick second, I'm gonna drop the Smith, the Forge Master,
Okay?
Drago, and I'm gonna touch my tattoo and say release.
You're going to cancel
And
it?
yeah.
Okay. You the way it's set up, where's your it's on your arm, right?
The forearm. So if I have them like this, I drop them. Quick touch, release.
Are you carrying two people? You're only carrying one, right? Yeah,
One on my shoulder and dragging the other one on the side.
and dragging the other one. Okay. I got you. Okay, you do that, and that actually, to cancel it, it doesn't even really cost an attack. So you command your summon to release, and you just hear the familiar or I'm sorry, you feel the familiar kind of ozone static charge kind of sensation wash over you as that bit of your personal kind of pool of magical power kind of like returns to you in a sense. And you feel yourself kind of, kind of be made
Okay.
whole. Now, as this happens, you're more than able to just reach down and grab him back up and
Yep,
keep.
that's what I want to do.
All
I
right,
go upstairs.
you're. Since that doesn't cost an attack, you essentially dropped the guy and just grabbed him again. Yeah, I'm gonna say you basically make it up just about to the top of the stairs. You're pretty much up
Okay.
there. Okay, Ymir, did you want to keep pace with them, or did you want to stay inside the room?
Yeah, no, Ymir stays inside the doorway as Akama is starting to retrieve with the civvies up the steps.
Okay.
Because as he stands there, hold on, let me click off. As he stands there, his eyes are still fixated on the anvil, the sacred relic of his people, and something that might be the key to the Saber-Tooth salvation here in the future. So he feels the need, especially with them protecting Drago at this point, that this relic must be protected. He must retrieve this mighty silver anvil, this relic of his people, before he leaves, just in case they never get a chance to come back here. It's something that's very important and sacred to the Kuznia and the Vana people, these kind of anvils. So he, as Akama moves with the civilians upstairs, dragging them upstairs, Ymir starts to move right here and goes to pick up the anvil, and his pack's pretty large. If you've looked at his pack, if you take a look at the pack that I have for him,
Now I wanna let you know right now, this thing is secured with mega damage metal, and it's fairly substantial. It's like a I don't want to say an altar, but it has that type of
okay, all right.
Just rip it from the ground.
kind of deal. Well, I will say that you
Normally I could, but
well,
secure,
and you also know just through like everything you know about the Kuznia and how all of this kind of enchantment
Yeah.
works, it's not a good idea to just like break something like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway, I just wanted to frame that. It's going to be something you would probably estimate would be, it's either going to destroy whatever enchantment is in it completely, or it could cause some kind of like reaction that
Well,
could
then-
potentially be really bad. You know what I mean?
Well, then, yeah, then I have to. Well, given that information, I would retcon the entire thing and
That's fine.
continue to move on with, yeah, then just continue to move on with a common them, kind of protecting them in the rear, being the last one up, always facing the inside of the forge as he backs up the steps
Okay.
like this and moves his way. Hammer pointed, still in a combat ready stance, ready to swing just in case anything, covering his comrade's back, basically.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. You do that, and
You could move me wherever you want to. I guesstimated. Well,
you guys are now back up out of the stairwell, and you now find yourselves back on that kind of main kind of street area. This is what the outskirts of this zone kind of look like. Now that you guys have returned, you are in the back of the armory once again, outside of that rear building. This storefront is directly in front of you. You're kind of facing the rear of this storefront. And you see once again that you guys could just simply walk around the building and be completely away from the horrors that you just witnessed. There is that little security guard that we kind of explored earlier, located off to what would be the left of that image that I showed. And that guard still seems occupied with what he was kind of intent on earlier. So this guard seems completely oblivious to the group of people coming out, obviously severely injured. The people inside the storefront have not noticed you yet, but you would expect that it's only a matter of time before some of the other workers walking around are going to see what's going on. With that, we are out of initiative, and you guys are free to take whatever actions you would care to, and you don't have to wait for your turns.
I dropped my dude.
Nice.
I mean, gingerly, not like I don't.
Fucking spike him.
Yeah, and I throw my dudes on top of his dude.
oh, Jesus.
All right,
Arrange
so
them in an awkward position.
so
That's
do
what
you,
happens when you don't let these magical beings inside this fucking little thing, you piece of shit. No.
so as you guys drop them, how do you want to arrange them, or what do you want to?
I hold the back of his head and lay him on his back, belly up, and do a quick
And that was Ahab you had, is that right?
yeah, I did
Okay.
him.
Okay.
And a quick check to see if he's breathing.
As you kind of roll him over and just do a very, very preliminary examination, he appears to be fairly stable. It looks like from his color, it looks like maybe he's just been like severely maybe drained, mystically tapped out, something of that nature. He doesn't necessarily look injured. And his
We're not even
breathing is
unconscious
steady.
necessarily,
Yeah, I mean,
or semi-conscious.
he's not responsive, but he does have, I mean, I'll say he has pain response, you know what I mean? So like when you knuckle his sternum, he kind of moves and is agitated, but so he's right on the threshold of consciousness. So
Yeah.
okay, so
I will back up and wait for others to do shit.
As I
Okay.
get close to him, I lay these two like next to each other. I'll assess the weaponsmith, Drago, and with my eyes, can I see if there's anything like apparition or something grabbing hold of his neck still?
As
Invisible
you
hands, magic
as
hands.
as you're watching, you're still not seeing anything that you can identify actually attacking him. And this leads you to believe that it was something having to do with his link to the anvil itself. There was something attacking him through that wouldn't even necessarily manifest in a way you could see. Um, but you do see deep, deep bruises encircling his neck, as well as, I mean, almost total hemorrhaging of his eye, of both of his eyes.
Can I check to
Um,
see if he's still alive, like still breathing?
this man is fucking dead. I mean, he is real
I'm just
fucking
checking.
dead. Yeah, he
Alright,
has
so I'll
expired.
go. I'm just gonna skip him and then check the other dude.
Okay,
Get Lars, smack him up, be like, "Yo, wake up!"
He was
okay.
actually alive, Dex, but when you dragged him up the stairs, he
Yeah.
just kept bumping his head.
I
Xylophoned his
think
head.
when I throw him on the ground,
Uh, what's that?
when I threw him on the ground,
Yeah, he spiked him. All
banged his
right.
head.
So you move on to the other individual, and right away you see that Lars is already looking like he's coming to. He was shell shocked to the point where, like, somebody picking him up, he just kind of went limp and just went with it. Now that he's been set down, he's kind of already scooted himself up onto his ass and is starting to kind of like hold a hand up to his face, and he try as if trying to get some kind of anchor beneath him and start to kind of regain his composure. You can tell that it's going to take him a bit, but you all would guess that he's going to be relatively coherent and cogent within the next few minutes, probably. Um, okay. Who else is doing what?
Well, Ymir, noticing that Drago has expired, he kind of, glances at the other two and assesses, they're still alive and kicking, but when his eyes actually reach Drago's form, a very deep, solemn sadness rolls over him. It pierces his core, and it makes his heart fill with rage at what happened because of the story his tattoos told. This was one of the noble saber-tooth, one of the noble Kuznia that had lost their way from Vidar's light, but he had genuinely tried to return himself to the light. Genuinely was trying to return himself to Vidar's light using whatever means that he was trying to. So he's filled with a deep sadness, and he
Okay.
leans over him. Go ahead.
Oh, no, no, go ahead. He leans
Yeah.
over.
Uh, I was just gonna say he like leans over him, looks him dead in his eyes, and rolls his massive paw over his eyelids to close his eyes and goes, "Rest well, noble saber-tooth. You did all you could. I know not what masters you served in life, but your purpose was noble."
Okay, as you say this, you slowly kind of lower your gaze, roll a perception check. Okay.
Oh,
As you look down, you notice a very recognizable for you pattern within the bruising. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Moving.
The the bruising where?
Uh,
Where?
look in chat.
Oh. Ah. Ah. I
Okay.
see. Yep, I didn't have my chat scrolled all the way down. That was my
No
bad.
worries at all. No worries at all. All right, guys. Okay, we got about 15 minutes. Okay, so um, say several seconds have passed. You guys all notice that one of the sales floor staff, had just walked back to obviously get some kind of inventory, and this person stops. It's just an unassuming young red-headed male, maybe 16s, or late teens, kind of human. This individual has nothing really memorable about them whatsoever, and as they look up and see your group all there assembled, right away they drop the rag that they were holding between their hands, obviously cleaning some kind of grease or paint off. They drop the rag, and as he looks down and surveys the scene, his jaw slack the entire time. When his eyes finally get to the forge master, you see him just kind of stammer and start kind of pacing backwards slowly. You would guess that he definitely is on alert now and is about to kind of raise some kind of commotion over what he's seen and what's going on. Anybody doing anything? Just want to open it up.
I'm just gonna sit down, uh, or find a seat and just not necessarily meditate, but try to get my mind at rest. Cause after pumping out all that PPE,
Okay.
I'm just gonna take a quick break.
All right. You definitely do feel, big chunk of your juju got blown, but as you sit down and start to kind of recoup, you know that you're going to be able to recharge very quickly once you have just a little bit of time. So all right, you want to like just lean back against a wall or sit down and do like a full kind of like yoga kind of pose, or you want to?
Yeah, I'm gonna sit cross-legged, just kind of like stand up straight or sit up straight, and just kind of like mellow my mind.
Okay, I mean you can start meditating if you want to go into the full thing of it. So
I mean, if it, because I was thinking the transition to the next time, it would be like, oh, you're started to meditate, but we're about to leave.
I get you. Keep in mind too that meditation, it goes really goddamn quick. You'll be able to recharge yourself pretty damn fast. So
Yeah, I guess meditate then. I mean, if that's just to get my mind right.
okay. You sit down, and through all of the practice throughout your lifetime, this is one of the easiest things for you to do. You right away start slipping into the right frame of mind to start letting yourself kind of recharge your own batteries. And as mystic energy that's ambient in your environment starts flowing into you like a sponge, you're just focused on getting yourself back up to full strength as quickly as possible. Anybody else doing anything at all?
I'm gonna just look at both of them and what the fuck just happened there? What was that?
Anybody want to say anything?
The the freaky little cockroach decided to do some wild stuff.
I know that
I don't know what that was.
Traitor amongst their ranks. disrupted the ritual, forced our hand, and cost the saber-tooth his life.
Okay, the young man has
This will
disappeared
not,
back into the building now. Go ahead.
and it cost the saber-tooth his life, and then he was going to actually turn to the young man with the rag and goes, "You,
Okay, he stops just inside the doorway and spins around quickly, kind of shocked and alarmed and just kind of staring up at you with large.
we have two men that need help here. Bring whatever it takes to mend them properly. You have, there was a disruption at the forge. Drago did not survive, but these men need help."
Okay. At this, he just very quickly and sharply nods once, still with his mouth agape and his eyes wide, and just spins and starts kind of running back inside. He disappears. Anybody saying anything else?
Nope, I'll just go back to my meditative state.
Is
Okay.
Lars coherent enough to talk now?
Not yet, but very
Not yet.
close. You would guess
Oh,
that
okay.
he's at the point now where he's actually kind of rubbing his own face and starting to like take his hands down and kind of look around and kind of gather some situational awareness again.
Okay.
So,
So Ymir walks directly over to Lars where he is and stares him directly in the face. And this stare that he gives him, this intent primal stare, is as close as he can get to. It's like a smack in the face, except for not physically. It's basically like a focus here while I'm talking to you, basically directing all of his energy at Ymir's eyes when he locks eyes with him and goes, "What was that, Lars? Why did this shaker react like that? What do you know?"
okay, he just looks at you completely confused at this point. He just looks up into your face and has just a completely like you're speaking a different language to him. He doesn't appear to understand what you're talking about at all. Um
Well, it's understandable. It's pretty traumatic what he saw.
at this point you guys hear an alarm klaxon go off, and as you listen, an automated message, like an emergency alert, starts going off over loudspeakers all over the place. Um, you can hear it doing an automated message in several different languages. And when you hear a language you understand, it basically is saying, guests of the aristocrat, please shelter in place for the moment. Emergency services will be responding to the crisis within 2 minutes. Please know that the situation is well in hand, and your excursion experience will resume momentarily. Thank you so much for your business. We at the Wandering Aristocrat appreciate you. And then there's a really pleasant little bing bong of a fucking bell
Bing
going
bong.
off.
Ding dong.
Now, as you hear that, you also see that several fairly heavy-duty turrets erupt out of hidden storage all over the place on several buildings surrounding the area, including several that are positioned within this little kind of backspace that you guys are in. These turrets look fairly sophisticated, fairly high tech, and completely automated and definitely deadly. You would say that they range from railgun to just strictly laser kind of make, but each one of them looks like they'd be able to take down a fairly armored opponent within a blast or two. This gives you a sense that the aristocrat is used to danger popping up pretty quickly, but that it's usually a well-oiled machine swatting down any kind of threats
Things get
that
locked
appear
down tight.
very
Yep.
quickly, very quickly. As this happens, you guys see three more employees flood from the storefront back into the area. Two of them go directly to Drago. A heavy set man with kind of a balding pate and just a little nest of wispy kind of gray hair on top of his head. And then a tall, lean, blonde headed young man that looks very serious and kind of no nonsense, even for the extreme nature of the situation that you guys find yourselves in currently. Um, he walks over and quickly starts checking for a pulse on Drago, and as soon as he reaches down to attempt that, he looks over at the heavyset elder man and just simply shakes his head twice very sternly. At this, the older heavyset man simply kind of staggers backwards from the body and actually leans one arm back against the wall behind him, which would be the rear of the shop, to kind of brace himself as he looks like he may kind of pass out. The tall blonde stands up quickly and walks over to him and very quickly kind of puts an arm on his shoulder and kind of starts kind of slapping him a little in the round face just to kind of keep him alert and keep him from passing out. Um, the other individual that came out goes directly over to Lars, and after kind of looking him over for a second, just pulls out a small vial of some kind of blue substance. It looks almost like a gel tab, and when he pulls this out of a small pouch on his waistband, he just kind of twists it in front of Lars's face as Lars kind of stares at him dumbly. And as he does this just very light kind of blue tinged vapor just kind of wafts up in front of Lars's nose. And within probably 3 or 4 seconds, you see that his eyes completely focus in and he starts looking around very kind of desperately until he locks eyes with you, Ymir, and he says, Drago. He says, Drago, what has happened to Drago?
Ymir looks down at Lars solemnly and shakes his head and goes, he's gone.
Okay. As you say this, his eyes just get extremely wide again, and then he puts his hand over his head and he just kind of bows his head, and just kind of stays like that for a moment. He then uses his hand to push his kind of hair back and he lifts his head up, straightens his back a little, and he looks over at the individual that just helped rouse him, nods at them, and kind of puts an arm over their shoulder. He's quickly helped to his feet, where he starts taking a couple of very deep breaths and starting to kind of straighten his attire out just a little bit and get himself kind of righted. Um, as this is happening, anybody else doing anything?
Negative.
Okay.
I just kind of sit back and listen, just watching, and I might be almost not even thinking about it, like reaching in my satchel and kind of like thumbing the like spine of the book that I got, kind of curious about it, but still more focused on what's happening, but having kind of like a
Was
a
it an
cure,
itch?
an
Yeah.
itch.
Okay.
But that's it. Yeah, I'm just gonna probably just find like a barrel or a stool to sit down and just kind of sit back and kind of stay back and observe what's going on. Wow.
You find something right away. You actually sit back on a barrel with some nets over it, and right away you're able to. Did you say you wanted to just kind of thumb the spine of the book, or were you wanting to
Just it was
look at
just
it?
kind of
or-
like a. Not, I'm not gonna pull it out yet. Just it's just
Yeah,
kind
I
of
don't blame you.
anxiously wanting to look at it, but more focused and definitely like paying attention to what's going on right now, and also not pulling out a piece of stolen property while
as you
super lockdown mode, being like, I'm just gonna whip this out.
as you run your prosthetic thumb over the spine of the tome, you definitely feel some slight kind of tickle of magical charge, and yeah, you can tell whatever this thing is, it's got some power in it. Okay, as this is happening, you guys hear a kind of whip cracking noise, and from somewhere around the corner, off on the right, behind the storefront, you guys see a small puff of what looks like just kind of black, acrid smoke seem to kind of bellow out from around that corner. As soon as that happens, you see this individual step forth.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
And as he immediately turns to face each of you, you see that he is apparently not actively prepared for battle. He seems like he's ready, but his blades and weapons are all stowed, and he seems to be conducting himself with great restraint as he's moving through the citizenry. As if, he would only resort to violence when it's absolutely necessary. As he approaches, however, he takes a few steps around the corner, sees your entire group, and promptly puts one hand over his face, lowers his head, and begins shaking his head vigorously from side to side while sighing. At this point, we are going to go ahead and call it for the session. I appreciate everybody's time. You guys did a great job. And we will be back at it next time. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And now, bow your head for the patrons. BKZJT, Rapid 3642. Andy Sasa, Nova Rose, Kelly T, Tommy Gunn. The Z24 Colts, Jess H. It's. If you would like a special thank you at the end of each of my videos, and some other cool stuff as well, visit patreon.com/homegrown lore. Thank you.